Nothing good ever comes easy. This phrase may seem a cluster of words, but taking a deep and insightful look at it could bring out the inherent weight of the phrase. Now, taking that phrase and putting it in the context of the struggle for the nation's sovereignty paints a very deep and thought-provoking picture of the sacrifices as well as ultimate price members of the armed forces paid during the Nigerian Civil War to ensure that Nigeria stands tall as one indivisible entity. Aside that, Nigerian soldiers fought in the First and Second World Wars, paying the supreme sacrifice to maintain world peace. And so, on this episode on Frontiers, we shall be taking a look at the plight of these gallant soldiers and the families some have left behind as Nigeria celebrates yet another armed forces remembrance and the last for the present administration. My name is Obiageli Ugwoke. Thanks for joining us. And our guest is the head of Department, Veteran Services, Defense Health Maintenance Limited, Lieutenant Colonel Susan Johnson Debal, retired. Glad to have you on the program.
Thank you so much.
We will take an excerpt to kickstart the conversation.
A grateful Nigerian nation once again remembers her fallen heroes, those who paid the ultimate price for its sake and that of humanity. Their sacrifices during the World Wars, the Nigerian Civil War, as well as various peace support operations around the world returns to the front burner. It is also an opportunity to spare a thought for the incapacitated compatriots and veterans, those left behind by the departed heroes and the troops still actively engaged in the daunting task of preserving national security. For President Muhammadu Buhari, this year's wreath-laying ritual in honor of the fallen heroes and those still battling to protect and defend the nation's integrity is the 8th and indeed the last he will be performing as Commander-in-Chief. So also the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. They were joined at the solemn occasion by Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker Femi Bajabiamila of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice of Nigeria, as well as the Ministers of Defense and the FCT. The fallen heroes were also honored by the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, as well as representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, the Nigerian Legion, and widows of the fallen heroes. Special prayers were offered for the repose of the souls of the departed soldiers, peace, unity, and stability of the country, as well as successful elections and transition to the next administration.
To our fallen heroes, grant eternal rest to them, and to their families, sustain them with both material favors and also new opportunities.
Grant our soldiers victory over our avowed enemies. Amen.
We pray also for our wounded colleagues. Please strengthen them in their frailties and assist them to recover quickly.
The 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day activities, kicked off by the presidency on November 16 last year, formally came to a close with a symbolic release of pigeons by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Once more, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations for a successful 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Celebration.
That was a great
Now,
one.
this celebration has been on for decades. How impactful has it been going by its objective?
Before I answer, I want to say from my heart that I appreciate every veteran anywhere around the world, because you have to value yourself as a Nigerian veteran before people value you. Yes, this celebration has been on for years, and it has always met its objective, bringing out the good side of all the veterans, even the bad side. And again, this makes it a unique opportunity for every veteran to remember that that last post, the song will be sung, and for them to feel that the fallen heroes are not forgotten. When that music is played, it is something that anywhere a veteran is will want to stand up to give his last hope for those that are fallen heroes. It's a day to remember, and it was celebrated all over the country. Actually, those who are not within communities that could see TV or radio, they always remember that 15th is a day to remember their colleagues that has gone.
Of course, no sacrifice is beyond giving down one's life to keep others safe and secured. You are in charge of veteran services and you're also a mental health specialist. Are there programs to give psychological support for veterans and their families?
My dear, there are programs. It's just that these are programs that the clinical psychologists are put together in all units, cut across the services. We have programs. But, you know, if the programs are not enough, it will get down to the man who has retired and gone back to his village. We may have program in Abuja, but do we still have that program? In my village, let me say Biu, can a veteran walk into a place to say he wants a psychological counseling? That is where we need more of these programs, to go deep down to those that migrated back to their roots. Let them have a center where they can walk in and look for help. That is my concern. But within the cities, within the state, we have such programs. We have them that you can walk in and ask. But a veteran is a veteran. He needs a center where he walks in without somebody looking at him that he has fought the war, that's why he is that way. We need a center where it is being mined by people who understand a veteran. You must understand a veteran before you can help him. Definitely there are programs, but we want these programs to go deep down to where I come from. And after retirement, I have relocated back to my roots. And if I have issue, I have somewhere to run to.
All right, some current challenges are complex in nature as the armed forces carry out various internal security operations across the geopolitical zones of the country. Are veterans called upon to share experiences, motivate or give suggestions on ways to tackle security threats?
Yes, my dear. The armed forces do that. But the only thing I want to say here is, don't forget that corporal, sergeant, the other ranks that have retired, they may know much. Always find time to bring them on board. Because when you plan with a veteran, he tells you what he has seen and he gives you option to pick. Definitely, retirees are called and they give their own opinion or what they see to be done. The security challenge need more on board. Pick people who have retired to come in and say their best, because these same people, especially the soldiers, they've seen it all. They were the ones that fought the war in Liberia and Sierra Leone, that these two countries are at peace. If we can bring in these men, even at their old age, they may have something to say that could help in this security challenge.
But with the present security situation in the country, what strategical advice can a veteran like you give, which will help the present administration in tackling this menace?
Plan with the veterans. At your level of planning, don't just think it is you there that knows it all. The man who has retired, you have spent a lot on him, on courses. Don't waste those courses. Look for them, put them together. Even if they were private soldiers, they may have ideas that could move our country forward.
Then taking a look at the security challenges like the recent abduction of train passengers in Edo State, there has been success stories regarding ongoing military operations across the country. What is required to sustain the tempo, especially at the grassroots?
Let me tell you, lesson. when we learn lesson from the first failure to the second failure, we get it right. Let's learn from lessons of why are we succeeding? What is making us succeed? Don't throw it off. Bring it on board. And again, these security challenges has to do with me and you. If the man in the community decide to say that my community, these are the people we should put torchlight on. The community leaders. Because it has, the soldier is from somewhere, you are picked to guide somewhere. But the man in the community knows the bad ones. Let's identify those that make our security challenges difficult. If we speak, you can speak without identity. Speak to the armed forces. Tell them, if you do it this way, you do it this way, you get it right. Carry the community leaders on board. They know it better. And again, I always say it, mothers, the women who are down there in the village, they own those children. Every mother see to the welfare of his child, even if he's a bad child. Let us look at that aspect of bringing in mothers from grassroots to tell us, where has your son been all this while? Carry along people who belong to communities where there is problem.
All right, we'll pause here for a while. I'll get back
Thank
to you.
you.
The program is Frontiers, and we are taking a look at the plight of members of the armed forces in commemoration of DCA's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. We will be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. Glad to know you're still there.
Thank you.
Now, taking a look at the sacrifices of fallen heroes, government has over the years introduced policies to reward serving, retired and deceased members of the armed forces. As an ex-serviceman yourself, are there still areas requiring needs for more attention?
Yes, ex-service woman. I want to put it that way.
Ex-service woman, that all the armed forces men or women
Yes, the
are
government
referred
have
to as
tried, let me be honest.
men.
The government have tried, put
Okay.
in place so many things to make a veteran or the widow or the children of the fallen heroes in place, especially the armed forces. But what I want to say here is, it is not the government that take care of fallen heroes in other world. If you feel that the security you are getting, a soldier played a role, and we have rich men, people who has money, have they one day looked at those soldiers' family to say, let me even have a dinner with them? None.
So it is not a sole responsibility of the government.
Not
is that
at
the point
all.
you're making?
Not at all. Philanthropists, people who feel that these people has given sacrifice. A soldier does not need anything from anyone, but a soldier just needs that word. Thank you for yesterday, that it was hard. Who have done it? I've not seen it. Let me be honest, that they say this gathering is meant for retirees, that we want to celebrate them. We want to put value to what they have done. It's not all about government. It's all about the individual who feel that if a veteran has done enough. People have money in this country. Have you one day sit aside to say, let me celebrate these fallen heroes, wives and their children? Or let me see what I can do to a veteran who has moved to a village to live. The little money given to him, he has built his house. Yes, he has a house. But have you celebrated him? Find time. Like on the 15th, how many Nigerians saw veteran and say, congratulations? Do people really know what 15th is? That is what it is. If we really know what 15th January meant, you would have heard party everywhere, in the US and in the UK, other countries. These are things I saw, not that I hear. I've seen it. It's not only government. We only say government, government, government. Even you could have gathered 2, 3 veterans and said, I want to celebrate you.
And
You'll be
just show
happy.
appreciation.
Yes, that is it.
We are learning, and we learn every day.
Thank
All right,
you.
let's talk about the service women,
Yeah.
according to you.
Yes.
Now, not much is being said about female members of the armed forces. Are there gender-specific supports?
See, I was the first woman to command 620 women as a battalion. There are support for the women, and the women are willing to give their best. But again, you know what we are, women? If you are not carried along, I can't just jump in. We need women that have retired to be celebrated. It's not easy for a woman to join the armed forces. It's not easy. The challenges were many. But because we love the job, especially me, I love my job.
The
So
passion.
the passion in it. So I got it so easy to go along. And likewise others. Call them on board. They have something to offer. There is no gender demarcation to say because she's a woman. No. Call on them. It is because a woman needs that little pet. Recognize me as a veteran and call me on the table once a while. That woman will give you the best answer of whatever you want. They are willing. They are there. We have generals, real admirals, AVMs.
Does that also mean in rendering these services, the women's responsibilities are still the same just like the men? They could be sent for work
Of course.
in any part of the
Of
country, in any
course.
part of the world.
They have gone for UN. I've gone for UN. Women also go. Today in Guinea-Bissau or Guinea, there are women. Anywhere the man goes, the woman is there. It's just that when a dot of a woman within the men are silent, you won't know they were women. Medugri, when I was there 2015 to 2018, there were women who stood back to see that these men are looked upon. This woman makes the catering services, which without the catering, you need to eat. The medical services, there were women. But it's because in 100 men, maybe you see 2 women, so the talk is not there. But I bet you, women are doing their best. When I was the commander, I know what women can do. If you ask a woman, and that is what I want our government to understand. If you ask a woman to put security somewhere, she does it with the whole of her heart. She does not compromise. So we have women who are willing to give their advice.
Could you share some of your experiences while you were still in service?
Thank you. I started as a soldier. I grew into the service. That is to tell you that I started as a baby in 1986. And when I joined the service, I said to myself that the way my colleagues out there are going to school, I want to go to school, and I did it. I got my first degree, 2 masters.
While
I'm
still in
doing my
service.
PhD now. Yes, still in service. Now that I retired, I'm doing my PhD in peace and conflict. What am I trying to tell you? No woman in the service that does not know the value of her family to add to the work. And when I became a commander of only women alone, we try to see that we don't want men. So I try to put this idea that women can do what men do. Being plumber, we don't want a man to come into the room to repair our taps. Women went in to learn plumbing.
Oh,
Women
really?
went out to learn driving. Women went out to learn tiling. Because all these things, the armed forces have schools for them. What do? filter them into these schools. 2-3 months they are out, and they are doing the best. I understand that. Allow a woman, that is why I advocate for gender mainstreaming. Allow a woman to do what she knows how to do best. Give her the opportunity. She can never fail you. In the service today, all women know the value of why they join the service. And they want to put in their best, and they are doing their best.
I keep wondering, as a woman, how were you able to manage the home front and the service at the same time?
That is what I tell people. From the beginning of your career, spell out the family and your job. If you put these two together and you weigh them, you get the best. Not throwing any of them away, making them valuable to yourself, your family number one. And when you are coming home, pull the uniform at the door and see your family as your family. You can never have a problem. And that is why the women are not having that issue so much. There could be that issue, but it's not as much because they believe that coming home is different from going to the office, and drop the office work and come home as a mother. We've done that and we've seen it, and it was okay.
Now, for those still in service, can you share tips on how they can prepare better for life after retirement and the well-being of the families in their events of death?
Thank you so much. This is a very beautiful question. You see, in Africa, we stay in the service for 35 years. In America, in other countries, a man could serve for only 1 day and retired, and he's still seen as a veteran. We have 35 years to think of 1 day it ends. So I just want to speak to those in service. You should remember that 1 day it will be that 35 years. And when it becomes the 35 years, stand on what you can change. Stand on what you can do. Stand on what you believe in. And you will see that the same 35 years in service could be another 35 years as a veteran, because you never play the game of, I want to be, I need this. No. What you can change, you have it. What you can do, you do it well. And as a veteran, I want to advise them that definitely 35 years is like 35 days. And I want to appreciate them for that 35 years, because in the US, someone could serve for only 4 years, and he comes out and blows his trumpet and everybody respects him. I want Nigerians to know that 35 years is not 35 days. When you see a veteran, give him that little honor. Tell him thank you. Let our youth read. Let our youth use picture to understand that somebody deprived himself and his family the peace we enjoy today.
All right, taking a look at the situation of the security now, unlike what we used to have before, we now have terrorism, we have kidnapping activities, the bandits, and then come the header farmers clash. What is your advice to those who are still in service? Because the situation is getting tensed by the day.
Thank you. You see, these security challenges, it's not just us. It's all over the world. But again, as an armed forces person, somebody still in uniform, my advice for you is that on the day we pass out, either from NDA or from depot or from Jaji or from anywhere, you took an oath that you will stand for the country. As you are standing for the country, understand that you are saving lives. And when you do it religiously, I'm not trying to say that people who died did not do it religiously. I'm trying to say that the job you have chosen is not the same as a banker. It's not the same as an engineer. You choose a job that says you want to serve your country. Serve it well and see. I used to tell, when I go for counseling within the army when I was there, I used to tell people, Value the job you're doing, and you will see how the job will value you. So security challenges is all over. Again, it is not just the uniform man that we need to put all our hope on. Even the individual in the community, play your role. See something, say it, just as the narrative said. Say something when you see something. It will help all of us. And this will come and pass.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
And also for all the retired and deceased members of the armed forces who are utilizing this opportunity to say thank you to all of them for their services.
You're welcome.
Once more, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I salute the strength, commitment, resilience, and courage of brave men and women in the Nigerian Armed Forces. Thanks for your time. My name is Obiageli Ugoke.